1 second. Hello, everybody. My story is called A Healing Space. I was broken, newly divorced, and childless. Would my dreams of becoming a mom ever happen? After lots of coaxing and hand-holding by a good girlfriend, I became a foster mom to a beautiful 10-day-old baby boy. The birth mother permanently lost her other 10 children to the system. Baby boy, JC, was number 11, and I was judgy at first. Then I learned about her horrific childhood. Her life was marred with agony, loss, and pain from trauma, mental health conditions, and physical ailments. Over time, I went from being judgmental to my heart aching for her. Her life was the ultimate example of intergenerational trauma. Within 6 months, JC was reunified with his birth mom, so my services were no longer needed. But I needed baby JC to be safe. The judge got it wrong. His birth mother was ill-prepared to raise an infant. Despite advice to move on from lots of people, I decided to get in touch with the birth mother. I had about a week of sleepless nights, wondering if he had diapers, if he was sleeping, if he had formula, if he was safe. But when I called her, she sounded relieved to hear from me. That was the beginning of our 6-year journey into co-parenting. One day, the birth mother hit me in the face really hard in front of 5-year-old JC over nothing. It was time for me to wake up. I wasn't protecting this precious child at all. If she would hit me, who knows what was happening to him when I wasn't around. After all, they survived in an environment of domestic violence, drugs, weapons, hoarding, and toxic stress. It was a part of life. Up until that slap, I tried to show the birth mother that there are people who care with no ulterior motive. I was so caught up in keeping things calm and safe that I made poor decisions. I took care of the birth family's essentials, so food, clothing, and shelter. Most of my loved ones didn't know. I even bought her a modest home. I went into debt to the tune of about $100,000, supporting 2 households. When all was said and done, I was depleted mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. The day she slapped me, I dropped to my knees and I asked God for guidance. Things escalated even more around kindergarten or 1st grade when he started talking about suicide. JC was entered into a mental health facility and later he was admitted for the long haul. The birth mother was concerned that the system was going to take him away like her other 10 children, and I get that. I stepped out on faith, found an attorney, and gained custody and restraining orders. Next came temporary and permanent custody. Then came the diagnosis of PTSD. My 6-year-old baby had a diagnosis of PTSD. By the time JC turned 8, I became his adoptive mom, a real mom. I spent so many years trying to prove that I was a mom. Enough, though, I was a mom even though I had not given birth. I was finally a real mom in the lives of other people. My self-esteem was in there somewhere, and I began to feel it. I had everything I had prayed for, but I was not healing. I lived in hypervigilance mode for so long that even when the threat from his birth parents was gone, I could not relax. Trauma engulfed me. Then there was the excess weight and debt, the visible signs of trauma. 40 pounds overweight, $100,000 in debt, I was pre-diabetic, all from the journey to my son. He was and is more than worth it. Like him, I needed time and space to heal. Whew. It's been more than a decade since JC came into my life. Now he feels safe. JC is more than a survivor. He is thriving despite his trauma. As his advocate, I provide or find what he needs as he grows into a young adult. He's now 13. We have setbacks. In fact, his birth mother recently died from fentanyl. It hurt him so much, and my emotions were all over the place. Yes, I put him first. Yes, I crashed and burned. We continue to process the loss individually and together. I really needed help. I started seeing a therapist. I have diagnoses of anxiety and depression. I go to therapy, I exercise, I find time for myself. I found my healing space. Who am I today? A mother, a staunch advocate for children, mental health change advocate, and debt-free, except for that mortgage. I've been reinvented, not by design, but by my life's journey. Through the pain, I found purpose. I found purpose in speaking up in advocacy. I'm a woman who has learned the hard way that putting myself first isn't selfish, it's necessary. My name is Carla, and this is my Brave.